You are looking live at the Nasdaq daily chart, which was it was down 31 points today, or 0.20%, and closed at 15,598. You can see the volume was down a little bit, below the 50 daily average there. So, Jerome Powell went on 60 Minutes last night and spoke about, three rate cuts and 2024, and you think the world was coming to an end. Wall Street craving further rate cuts, which it's kind of good that the market doesn't really need it. It just had an inside day today, a quiet day. I'm sensing that people are getting a little cranky or a little spoiled with the move here with this power trend, like it's their birthright that the market goes up every day, and that's just not the case. I'm also hearing a bunch of whiners about the market's too narrow. Well, if you're not in the right stocks, yeah, you're going to be losing money. It's a stock picker's market, and you have to have a stock picker's acumen. That's why I have a leading stock list at mcstockcharts.com that you can look at every weekend. So those stocks are doing well. Anyway, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Of course, I have to go through the perfunctory routine of the Mag 7, which is now I've shortened it to the Fab 5. I'm going to include Apple. I'll throw it back in there. It's back above its 200. So we'll call it the Super 6. Anyway, I went to the Apple store to check out the Vision Pro. The store was packed. There was a lot of people just trying it out. I wasn't interested in buying one, so I didn't want to waste the clerk's time, but there was a lot of interest there, and I could see that the Apple, what do they call them, fanboys or the cult, they're going to buy this thing. I think there was 80,000. That was the original, the first, whatever, the first iteration that's coming out. So anyway, those we bought up. I guess, I don't know, it's probably a game changer in the wave of the future, but it is going to cannibalize some of their products. I don't know which one, either the MacBook Pro, the iPad, probably not the iPhone, but yeah, pretty cool form factor there for Apple. So kudos to them. People complain about them not innovating, and so they copied Oculus and came out with a better Oculus. How about that? It was up today on a day where the Nasdaq was down, so definitely bucking the trend. Good for Apple. Microsoft was down, dragging the index down with the index, but all it really did was come back to its 10 EMA here. So this is their earnings date where it sold off, give you a shot to get it under 400. Then it ramped back up the first 2 days of February, and now today, this is the first day in February where we had a down day, and it just pulled back to its 10. Microsoft looks fine. Meta had a big day on Friday and just gave some back. Had an inside day today as well. Meta Platforms looks fantastic. At its new lofty price there above 450. Amazon, same thing. It had a big move on Friday and just gave some back today, less than 1%. That looks good as well. And then Google sold off after a pretty good earnings report, just came back to its 50, found support, and now it's bouncing back through its moving averages. So Google looks good as well. So I went to Apple, Microsoft, Meta. Okay, so I'm down to NVIDIA. Now, if you listen to the lazy folks on Twitter, the only stocks that are going up today are SMCI and NVIDIA. And the breath is bad and the market's really narrow, and it's just not true, folks. On Saturday I went through a ton of stocks making new highs. I had a couple of pages of new highs today. I'm going to get to part of this at the end, but I'm kind of tired of making this stupid argument. Go ahead, woe is me. The market stinks. Meanwhile, we're going to make money on leading stocks that are going higher. And NVIDIA made a new high today. And if you don't own NVIDIA, I suggest you find a way to get your way in there because that one looks fantastic, up nearly 5% today with heavy volume. So institutions are buying NVIDIA. Thank you very much. AMD, this one pulled back to its 10 again. After earnings, this is the earnings move here back to the 21. Found support Thursday and Friday, ramped back up nicely. Now today pulled back to the 10. So we expect it to find support there at the 10 and just surf its moving averages. Even if it pulls back to the 21, it's doing fine. I mean, it made a move from 93 to 185 5 or whatever. So let it rest. All runners need rest. AMD looks fine. AVGO, this is the one with the ascending base pattern. Yeah. And it just pulled back to its 10-pound support, and it's been up the last 3 days. It was up 1.5% today, while the Nasdaq sold off a little bit. So this is all healthy. This is all good action. You want some pullback, and I always say embrace the pullback. It tells you where your stock is getting support. Where's Broadcom getting support? Where's AMD getting support? Well, it's getting support at these moving averages. So that's important information. So these pullback days are valuable. They provide valuable information. This is MRVL. Got to go to the weekly on this one because it shows the long consolidation. And the longer the base, the higher in space. Nice little shakeout here the last few weeks. Coming in lighter volume. I'm going to leave this one on the ready list. Pulling back to the 21. So yeah, just give it some time. The long base is probably going to need more time to break out. This is the Fabulous group, and it's one of the top 10 groups there. So keep your eye on MRVL. Anyway, I've got to get to SMCI because I did mention NVIDIA and SMCI is the only two stocks. You got to find a way to own this one. I just, I talked to a couple of technical buddies that are, I respect and do the work. And we were talking about this high tide flag possibility. And I'm more comfortable with starting the flag at 357 where that breakout occurred. And some people are trying to start it back here at the low of 275, which would make the 100% move 550. So if it was more 700, which I think it'll get to, and then start flagging, that would be more of a high tight flag. First, you got to have the pull, and then you have the flag, okay? And then you can expect, believe it or not, another maybe 100% gain from there. Don't say that too loud. But anyway, that's my take on SMCI. I think you have to own it, find a way. On this one day of Friday, it pulled back just a little. Today it was 28% above its 10 EMA, close at 25. So it's getting white hot. Yeah, so it might just go to 700, then pull back. I don't know. When the stock runs like that, though, we saw that in 2023. When it runs, it just, you got to let it run. And it looks fine to me, that wants higher prices. So I'm going to move on to the retail. I mentioned that I went to the Apple store. I went to the Lululemon. I went to Costco, Target. I had to visit the Ulta Beauty, see the Elf display. I was pretty busy shopping this weekend. And Costco, somebody mentioned that I never cover Costco on my weekly review or my daily review. Well, there's not much to say here. I mean, it broke out and it's just surfing. This is like the Kelly Slater stock making new highs. And this is why I say, when people are saying that it's just a narrow market, well, they're not owning Costco because this thing's just going up, week after week. If you just look at the weekly chart, just a power move. And it's surfing its moving averages. So Costco looks fantastic. I think they opened their 6th store in China. But they're just getting into China, and they're wildly popular in China. I have to talk about Estee Lauder and the ELF situation today because the ticker symbol is EL, and ELF is ELF. And this report from Estee Lauder was not good today. They are, decelerating sales and earnings growth. They have a real China problem. The China economy is slowing. And China's stock market is hurting. And Estee Lauder has quite a bit of exposure in China where ELF does not. But the reason why the stock went up 12% today is because they laid people off, not because they had any type of stellar sales. And this is the Christmas quarter. So you'd think they'd be stronger. And then ELF sold off at the open today. If I just go to a 5-minute chart, you can see, there was some confusion there with ELF. This thing dove like $9 down to 161, and then it rallied back to 170 towards the close and finished flat for the session. But you can see that EL and ELF, there was a little bit of confusion. I believe ELF is taking market share and mind share from Revlon, Maybelline, Estee Lauder. I mean, believe it or not, I went into the beauty store with my wife, and yeah, just a lot of people are buying ELF. So they report earnings tomorrow. We'll find out tomorrow and see what they have to say. they need to deliver about, last year was 146. They need to deliver about 250 million in sales tomorrow to carry the day, I think. And maybe we can see, from 170, maybe a 10% move to, 187, 190 for the rest of the week. Hopefully, if they, they spit the bit and blow it, growth stocks have stopped growing, really going to take a hit. So I don't think it's quite time for ELF yet, but we'll wait and see. Deckers is a stock, another retail stock. Sometimes you have to put two and two together, and when Decker's Hoka brand was doing what, 440 million in sales. Now their Hoka shoes are very popular, the athletic footwear, and but Uggs is still outselling it. Uggs was like 800 million for the quarter, and that was their Christmas quarter. But I go to the gym and I see a lot of people wearing Hokas and ONON. Deckers just give back what it, a little bit. It's inside day, so I'm not going to spend too much time with Deckers. But this one, I believe, they had what, 396, 459, 496, 525. So their Christmas quarter, this is the comp that they have to beat, 396. I don't know. I would think that they would be doing pretty well just based on the Hoka sales. So we'll have to wait and see. But definitely, I think Hoka and On Holdings are taking market share from Nike, and it's about darn time. Nike's been living off of Jordan forever. I mean, that's like Converse coming out with Bill Russell shoes. I mean, the guy's been dead, hasn't played basketball in, 50 years. I don't know what they're doing at Nike. But these younger companies are taking market share from them. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I'm going to move on to the cybersecurity space. Zscaler tried to pull a fast one. Their COO resigned, and they announced it on Friday after the markets closed, the Friday afternoon news dump. They thought they'd pull a fast one, but not so fast. It was down 5% today with heavy volume. I don't think the market liked that at all. If you got bad news, just come out and say it. Don't try to hide it after hours on a Friday afternoon. That was bad optics for Zscaler. It did not carry over to the other stocks, though. CrowdStrike's just dancing there at 300. That is a beautiful shelf pattern here. If it just holds 300 there, it's just telling you that investors are not willing to sell this stock. They might not be buying it in bulk, but they're not selling it either. And it's just trading along its 10 EMA. And all it takes is, one upgrade or one good news cycle, and investors can really pound this thing higher. I think it goes higher before it goes lower, but we'll see. Because, February is typically, last couple weeks in February, kind of weak. So we might run into like a choppy patch here in the market where these things just continue to go sideways. Fortinet, they report tomorrow. I think good things for Fortinet. Certainly the chart is set up for it. You can see this big cup with handle, and that's back from, I want to say May. Am I right? Just last summer, July. Okay. July to February. So you're looking at what, 7 months of consolidation here. So hopefully they should have something good to say tomorrow afternoon. So ELF and Fortinet are two that I'm looking forward to tomorrow afternoon. And I think I'm going to move on from the cybersecurity names and go to the leisure stocks. Marriott, once again, these things are making new highs, big breakout, trending, just surfing the 10 EMA. That thing looks fantastic. H was downgraded today. Was it Hyatt? Yeah, Hyatt Hotels. Yeah, this thing's set up in a nice little consolidation pattern. That one looks good. I believe I have that one on our ready list. HLT is Hilton, another one just making new highs, inside day today, just riding the 10 EMA. These leisure stocks are looking good. I haven't even looked at ABNB for a long time. I don't really care for this stock. Yeah. Oh, well, inside day today. And I wanted to show Netflix because Netflix has a rare pattern here that usually, returns, nice returns here. It was up 18% 2 weeks ago. Last week gave back 1% in whisper quiet volume, and that is a short stroke pattern. And those usually pan out. So take note, if you're into options, you could buy maybe, March 575 calls or something. Give yourself some time, but think that all it takes is an upgrade or the news cycle to hit, and Netflix could romp to 600 pretty easy. That is a rare short stroke pattern in Netflix. So I'm thinking good things for Netflix. Anyway, some software names, GigaCloud Technology. This one is on our ready list. I had an earlier buy point, but 26.45 would kind of be the standard, and it traded above 28 today. It's 28 after hours. I'm going to leave it on, even though it's extended 15% from its 10 EMA. Just leave it on to watch, just in case it pulls back tomorrow, like has an inside day and allows these moving averages to catch up. You can see how quickly these moving averages are rising. So it doesn't take much of a pullback to have those things catch up. Datadog, once again, you got to read into things. And if you listen to the Amazon conference call, their AWS numbers were phenomenal, and Datadog should have a good report when they report February 13th. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk, but I have pretty good feeling that Datadog is going to say some positive things when they report. And then Cloudflare, another one on our Reddit list, just kind of trading tight by its 50. This thing, they report earnings on the 8th, which is what, Thursday? Thursday after the markets close. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pop after another pullback to the 50. Anyway, that's enough for the software names. There's a ton of them. I'm not going to get to all of them because I want to get to the drug stocks. And Novo Nordisk bought a Catalent. They bought their 3 manufacturing plants, one in Italy, one in Belgium, and one in the United States. And so these manufacturing plants won't be up and running solely for Novo Nordisk until 2026. They already make pills, drugs in bottle, drugs for Novo Nordisk, but this will be solely a private entity for Novo Nordisk. And Novo Holdings bought it. Novo Holdings it's a managing partner of Novo Nordisk. They have, a couple $100 billion just in their holdings, Novo Nordisk does, and they manage their assets. And so, yeah, 16 billion for Catalent is really nothing for Novo Nordisk, and they're very happy to, I'm sure, make this deal because they're looking forward. They're not looking at 2024, 2025. They're looking out towards 2030 and how they're going to move their products. This is Catalent with a nice 10% move on the buyout today. But Novo Nordisk is looking towards 2030. They're going to have an NDA this year and get approved for a kidney and cardiovascular patients, which will allow them to be covered by Medicare. And that's kind of a big deal. I mean, cardiovascular heart disease is the #1 killer globally, even ahead of cancer. So this is a big deal. If they get approved, this thing should continue to ramp, just gradually grind higher and higher and higher for a few years to come. Things look really good for Novo Nordisk. I like that deal today. It's not going to immediately, ease their supply constraint, but it's going to help longer term. And I like that move from Novo Nordisk. Lilly has been popping. They report tomorrow after the close. Of course, they moved on the Novo earnings report, which was phenomenal. I'm sure Lilly's going to have some good things to say tomorrow morning. So if you didn't get them by now, tomorrow morning they're going to report early, and it's probably going to be off to the races. Yeah, 7-Eleven after hours. They're open all night. Anyway, that's it for Lilly. That's it for Novo. That's it for the drugs, except for Viking. This is a company that reports earnings. I use air quotes earnings because they don't really have much in the way of earnings, but they're going to update their drug compounds, and I believe it's going to be really positive news. It's just surfing the 10 right now. I believe after earnings, that's probably going to pop. It's a biotech with no earnings, and they could say anything about their drugs. So we'll just have to wait and see. But you can see this 25 area, 25.70, 25.50 for weeks and weeks there last May. So it's been, 9 months of consolidating, and that thing looks pretty darn good to me. Anyway, That's it for me, except for I lied. I got one more thing, maybe even a couple more things. After hours, there's some companies reporting some decent reports. And Palantir's up 18% after hours. So that's good if you're into the AI and the software names. That's good for, that cohort. And it's a big cohort. So look for good things tomorrow from the software enterprise and the AI cohort, because Palantir is certainly ripping after hours. VRNS, this is a smaller company. Varonis, we had it on our watch list back here. I don't talk about it too much, but they reported after the bell tonight. It looks like a pretty good report. I like it above 47.29 there, and it's up, over 1% after hours. We just have to see how that one trades tomorrow, but that one looks good. Vertex, I didn't even look into this report, up 2% after hours, very strong medical drug stock. Just pulled back to its 21 ahead of the report. Now it's getting some back. So that one looks good. And then Rambus, I think Rambus bit the bit. Yeah, down 7%. They missed I think they beat on earnings and came up pretty short on their revenues. So that's not good. I don't think it's really going to bother the kings like NVIDIA and AMD, and Broadcom. But yeah, this is a smaller name, 7.3 billion market cap, and it's yeah, not good. Anyway, sorry, can't all be winners. Okay, I just want to get to one more thing, and that's the lazy and tired uh, narrative that the market only has two stocks going up. I'm not going to go through all the stocks like I did over the weekend. I'm just going to show you some. You could write their tickers down and buy them on pullbacks if you like. But Uber, pretty big company, 142 billion, making new highs. Taiwan Semiconductor, one of the larger semiconductor stocks, making new high today. Looks very good. POWL. Now, this is a smaller and thinner stock, but this is in with the electrical data centers, like with Caterpillar and Vertiv Holdings. This one, new high today, broke out last week. That one looks fantastic. We like new highs. Datadog, I mentioned it earlier, made a new high today. Elf, I mentioned it earlier, made a new high today. Toyota Motors, you might have heard of it. Just a little company from Japan, 330 billion market cap, new high today. AbbVie, a drug stock, which made a new high today. Amgen, another drug stock. The drug stocks are looking pretty good. Made a new high, then pulled back. THC, perhaps you've heard of it. Tenet Healthcare. Healthcare was strong today. Another new high. BRBR, Bellring Brands. They report tomorrow. I like the chart. Nice little flat base area there, and made a new high today ahead of their earnings report tomorrow. DraftKings, new high as it breaks out of that double bottom base pattern. Dave, I don't even know what Dave does. Computer Tech Services. Dave's making new highs. Frog, this is one that's on our ready list. New highs. Giga Cloud Technology, new highs. Intuitive Surgical. This is a large elective surgery, 135 billion market cap stock making new highs. Yeah, so Pinterest. You might have heard of Pinterest. You might use Pinterest. New high, pullback. Anyway, I could do this for a while and just show you that it's not just NVIDIA and it's not just SMCI, although everybody likes to talk about these ones, and for good reason. I mean, they're leaders and they're making new highs, and I think you have to own them. Full disclosure, I'm usually about 80% is fully invested for me today, but I plowed a big investment into SMCI this morning. Just chasing, right? Because it pulled back on Friday, and I was thinking that it's going to make that pull. After I consulted with my technical buddies, and I don't know, we kind of together, our collective brains think it's going to 700, then going to flag. So I said, why not put in some money and make this run to 700, then take some out and let it flag. Anyway, that's my plan. You got to have a plan. I know I'm chasing, but anyway, at least I acknowledge it. That's it for me today. Thank you for watching. We have ready list tonight at mcstockcharts.com, and I'll have probably some new names tomorrow morning. Very interesting day today. You got to embrace these pullbacks. These are healthy. The Nasdaq's not going to go up every day. So when it does pull back, this is giving us an opportunity. I keep talking about it. Maybe it pulls back to its 21 again. Wouldn't that be fine? Okay, that would be fantastic. I just want to point out that it's 2.2% above its rising 21. So it wouldn't take much for the Nasdaq to get there. It's 5% above the 50. That's it for me today. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.